This is Cryptid, the creepy card battling game. Conjure terrifying monsters and do battle against your opponent. The first to kill 10 of the enemy's monsters wins. There are two types of cards in Cryptid: Cryptid cards and instances. Each of these types have subtypes. Let's take a look at Cryptid cards first. These are the monsters you summon into battle. There are three subtypes of them: Kindling Cryptids, Cryptids, and Mythical Cryptids. You must have 10 Kindling Cryptids in your deck to start the game. You can have more if you like. Kindling Cryptids cost nothing, but you can only conjure one per turn. Mythical Cryptids are powerful creatures with unique names. Usually, you can have 3 copies of the same card in your deck, but you can only have 1 copy of the same Mythical Cryptid in your deck. As for regular Cryptids, they are your basic monsters. As for instances, there are 4 subtypes: Auras, which grant permanent buffs to your Cryptids; Attacks, which grant new moves to your Cryptids; Traps, which are ambush cards you can place on the battlefield; and Burst cards, which are ambush cards that come straight from your hand. Now let's look at the parts of a card. At the top left, you'll find the element, next to the Cryptid's name. And to the right of that is the pyre cost, which is how much it costs to conjure the card. At the center is the rarity. The more unique the card, the less common and stronger it is. A white skull means common, a silver skull means uncommon, a gold skull means rare, and a multicolor skull means ultimate. At the center right of the card, if it's a Cryptid card, you'll see the stats. At the top are the health points. That's how much damage the Cryptid can take before dying. Below that are the attack points, which is how much damage the Cryptid deals in a basic attack. At the bottom half of the card are 3 icons: 1 red, 1 green, 1 purple. The red icon indicates attack abilities that are only active if the Cryptid is in the combat field, whereas the green icon indicates support abilities, which are only active if the Cryptid is in the support field. The purple icon explains whether the Cryptid has an evolution, and any evolution conditions it might have. To evolve a Cryptid, you must have its evolution in your hand unless otherwise stated, and a Cryptid may only evolve once per turn, but you can still evolve multiple Cryptids in a turn. Evolving a Cryptid cleanses all debuffs and damage from it, and it ignores the pyre cost of the evolution. The downside is, when an evolved Cryptid dies, it and its previous forms all count as a death, so an evolved Cryptid means multiple dead Cryptids if it dies. At the bottom of the card, you'll find card type and some flavor text. The battlefield has 4 areas. There can only be 6 Cryptids on the battlefield, 3 in a row on top, which is the combat field, and 3 in a row at the bottom, which is the support field. Keep them aligned, because position matters. Cryptids in the combat field can attack. Once they're done attacking, you have to flip them sideways, so that they may rest until your next turn. Normally, an attacking Cryptid may only target another combatant. However, if a combatant is resting, then the support under it is allowed to be targeted. The combat field is the default position. If you conjure a Cryptid into an empty column, it falls into the combat field. You can only conjure a Cryptid as a support if there is a combatant above it. When a combatant dies and there's a support under it, the support becomes the new combatant in that column before that attack ends. Now, when you conjure a support under a combatant, its health points and attack points are granted to its combatant. But if that support dies before the combatant does, the stats it granted are removed. If that causes its combatant's health to reach 0 or lower, the combatant dies as well. This is called collapsing. Support Cryptids cannot initiate attacks. The 2 remaining areas on the battlefield are the trap fields, one on the left, one on the right. Traps are played face down until activated. Attack and aura cards are placed under the Cryptid they're equipped to. Evolutions are placed on top of the old Cryptid. Now let's look at the side field. There you'll find your Kindling deck, main deck, mound, discard pile, and burn pile. Cards like instances that don't die but get used up are placed in the discard pile. Dead Cryptids go in the mound. This brings me to the Pyre Burn, a powerful ability you can only activate once per match. If you have less than 10 dead Cryptids in your mound, you may initiate a Pyre Burn anytime during your turn. By doing so, You draw as many cards and gain as many pyres as dead cryptids you had when you called the pyre burn. Then you send all those dead cryptids into the burn pile. They still count as dead cryptids. How to play. 1. Remove all kindling cards from your deck. Shuffle them into the kindling deck. The remaining cards are shuffled as your main deck. Place both these decks face down. 2. Each player draws 6 cards. 3. Decide who goes first in your own way. 4. At the start of your turn, draw 1 card and gain 1 pyre. After that, you may play a pyre card, but only once per turn. Awaken all your resting cryptids. 5. Conjure any cryptids you like as long as you can afford to, and if there's an open position on the field. You may also conjure 1 kindling cryptid per turn if you want. However, if you have no cryptids on your field, and you can't afford to conjure one normally, you are then forced to play a single kindling cryptid. 6. Evolve any cryptids you like. 7. Conjure instances. Remember, burst cards can be played even on your opponent's turn. 8. Declare attacks. Attacks should be initiated 1 cryptid at a time. First, you declare who is attacking, then who the target is. That's when the attack happens. Whether the attack is successful or negated, your attacking cryptid must now rest. Turn it sideways. Now you may attack with your next combatant if you like. 9. Conjure any other cards you like and evolve if you can. Then end your turn. Thank you for playing Cryptid. If you want a more detailed explanation of the rules, or if you have a question, go to cryptidcardgame.com for a downloadable rulebook and a contact form. Happy hunting!